gets the pass, he makes a three. He's feeling good. He makes another one. He makes another one. His team starts thinking he's got the hot hand. Feed him the ball, he's got the hot hand. He can't miss. Right? So there's this idea of the hot hand. It gives him confidence. It releases the dopamine. He's confident, he can't miss. Everyone is confident that he can't miss. Tversky, Gilovich, and Valone, they go like TGV, which makes our life a lot easier, in '85 argued that the hot hand is a fallacy. It's a pattern that we see that doesn't exist. Announcers think it exists. Basketball players, baseball players, everyone thinks the hot hand exists. They would say it doesn't. To quote their research, there is no evidence that a player's sense of being hot predicted whether they would hit their next shot. There is no evidence of any shooting pattern. It's a coin flip. You're going to make it or you're not. There is no pattern. Past success doesn't predict future success. So they argued that it's a fallacy. There are some who argue that it's not a fallacy, and it has to do with the inherent bias of negative coin flips, of the pattern being reset. There's an inherent bias. You might always get a negative coin if you've got 6 heads in a row. There's a bias that you're going to get a negative flip or a tails. Nobody really knows right now. A hot hand fallacy may be a fallacy, it may not be a fallacy. But what's important is that it's a pattern that people see and feel. It releases the dopamine. It gives confidence. So it almost doesn't matter if it exists. If you think you have the hot hand, you have the hot hand. If you think you don't, you don't. Your confidence goes up and down based on those. That's the challenge. That's where in the popular, in medical research and this more how the brain works research, we can say confidence, you can affect it. You can see a pattern when it doesn't exist.
We're going to look at a few brands that everybody knows, and some of these stories come from the podcast Scott mentioned, How I Built This, which is one of our absolute favorites. If you don't know it, it's a podcast where they interview founders of companies big that we all know and talk about the origin story of the company. Instagram. What does Instagram do to give people confidence? Part of it is in the origin story. There was, let me make sure I get their names right, Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger, who I just read were recently departed from Facebook. But they tell a story of when the platform had just launched. One of the founders was walking down the beach with a female friend, and she took a picture, and he said, "Are you going to post that to Instagram?" And she said, "Oh, no, it doesn't look very good. I don't take good pictures." And he said, "Well, what about our friend Jim? Jim posts everything he takes." And she says, "Well, he's a good photographer. He's got all those filters." The aha moment. He realized then that he was able to come up with a solution that would provide filters. He could turn his friend who thought that her photo was crappy and not worthy of sharing with anyone into somebody who was confident that their photo looked great and it was worthy of sharing with other people. So if you're on Instagram and you're looking at your, I do it all the time, it looks like shit. And then I start swiping the filters through it and the dopamine starts going. And I know it's good and I know when it's ready to post.
Now you know where we're heading. 2 other examples of companies that realized that they had a confidence problem. Zappos in 1999, again this is from How I Built This, and it's also their founder, Tony Hsieh. He said the last thing anybody wanted to do in 1999 was invest in an online shoe company because no one would ever buy shoes online. Right? So it's 1999. How do you buy shoes? You go to the store, you try them on, you try on a lot of them, you maybe walk out with them on, maybe you don't. Paradox of choice. What do I do? There's so many options. What if I make a mistake? You know what, I'm just not going to buy shoes today. Right? Well, I'm going to, and I hope I get the right ones. His solution, the insight is, and it's so simple now, free shipping, both ways. Recoverability, just as with usability, right? Don't worry if you're making a mistake. We're not going to ship you 50 pairs of shoes, but we'll ship you a number. You can decide, and you can send them all back. It's easy to recover. That gives you the confidence to make that choice, to make that decision to buy shoes, or ship them all back because maybe you don't like all of them. But it should be just as easy to undo, meaning send the shoes back, as to buy them in the first place. Warby Parker, 2010, right? Before 2010, who would buy glasses online? How do you know how you look at them? How do you make that decision? What do? The home trial. We'll send you a bunch of pairs, send them all back. It's easy to recover, it's easy to not make a mistake, and it also makes it easier for you to make a choice. Confronted with the paradox of choice, they're giving you a smaller sample, you only have 5, and they're making it easy for you to make that choice or recover from it. That's how you give confidence.
And you can also fake confidence. This is showing an old, I'm sad to say I have this iPod and you still use it. I have a few of them, not a few of this one, but I have a few iPods even though I don't think they make any anymore. But this is anything in the iTunes music library, the idea of random shuffle. When Apple released random shuffle of their playlist, a true random shuffle would allow Florence and the Machine, the same song, to come on twice in a row, if it was truly random. It would allow the same artist to come on 2 or 3 times in a row, if it was truly random. Well, they realized quickly that people did not have confidence in the random shuffle. People were like, oh, I'm hearing the same songs over, I'm hearing the same artist over. So Apple created an algorithm to instill confidence in people that this random shuffle was working, so that it created it so you would never hear the same song twice in a row. In fact, they unrandomized random shuffle so that they could get confidence.
We've talked about confidence in the popular press. We've talked about confidence from research on how your brain works. We've talked about confidence as popular theory. We're going to bring, as qualitative and ethnographic researchers, some of our work into it and how we've used confidence as a tool to help our clients succeed, and how we've used confidence as a lens to understand, again, that customer experience. This is the Adorn line of switches, dimmers, and outlets from Legrand. They're a company out of, their US headquarters is in Hartford, Connecticut. This is a modular system with a range of finishes, a range of quality, a range of technologies. So you can be wireless, you can have timers, you can have very expensive pieces, you can have inexpensive pieces. It's a modular line. The line came out, I would say, 9 years ago. And they had a boom in sales, incredibly successful, and after 2 or 3 years, they started to see a dip. Why were they getting so many returns? Why were in-store sales not booming as they had been? What was going on? And so what they did is they bring in the researchers to try to figure that out. What they tasked us with was to look at a number of different channels and try to understand where are we failing, what's not working, and we saw it as a challenge of confidence. Why aren't people buying these products? We engage in website testing, which we think of as part usability and part experience research. So we sat in front of people in their homes, we sat in front of them in a more controlled environment, and just asked them, A, give us your impressions of this, and B, shop for your home. Here's a budget. What would you do here? How would that look for you? What stands in the way of you buying this? Why are you not confident? What we found almost universally, given the look and the feel and the modern technology, is that people love the look and they love the functionality. And almost universally, we also heard, I'm afraid to buy this online. Right? They lacked the confidence to make the purchase. They didn't need free returns, because that wasn't the challenge. They needed something else to get over the hump. Because all they kept wondering when they saw this brand new line is, does it work in my house? Will it fit in my house? Will it fit in the electrical boxes? Am I buying the right thing? What goes together? What do I have to buy? I'm just not sure. They lacked a basic level of confidence in their own understanding of the line, and that was for us the biggest challenge to our clients. And that was only online. We went into Lowe's and we recruited people to come to the stores. They didn't know what they'd be shopping for. We walked them down the aisle and just said, tell us about this, right? What we discovered is that people had the same questions. A, I'm overwhelmed, paradox of choice. I'm used to there being maybe one or two options for switches. I go to the store, I pick one up and one breaks, that's it. Too many choices, I'm overwhelmed. They were very confident in all the wrong things. I'm confident this won't fit in my house. I'm confident I can't afford this. I'm confident that I have to do my whole house, not that I could put this in one room as a test. So their confidence was incredibly misplaced. And the challenge for us was to say to our client, your in-store experience is the same challenge as your online experience. You're not explaining, you're not giving confidence. You're presenting a beautiful product, but you're not helping people feel internally confident about their decision. We went to showrooms to ask salespeople, how do you sell this? What do you hear from customers? How confident are you in your knowledge of products and services? The answer, not very, right? People didn't know what to say. They didn't know how to sell it. Again, paradox of choice. Too many options, too many challenges here. Just overwhelming for the buyer, overwhelming for the salespeople. So through a little bit of work, we went through different channels and said, website, not working. Online, not working. In-store, not working. In sales rooms and high-end lighting showrooms, not working. So what do? You make a whole bunch of changes, right? So this was the website before we got there, and this is the website after. What did we do? We used consistent language, switches, outlets, dimmers, as opposed to hiding some of that language down below. We made it a little more user-friendly and visually friendly. Get rid of the darks. We want bright. We want more color in here to say this is something that you could use in your home in any room. It could go in your kid's room, whereas this does not look very kid-friendly. We encourage the use of different finishes. Everything shouldn't be the most expensive item you can show. You should show less expensive items. Right? Appeal more to women and kids, because women were the ones making the design decisions we discovered. Right? So we showed this to men and they said, oh, that's great. And then we showed it to women and they said, I would never put that in my house. Even if my husband, even if my kids, whatever it was, even if they liked it. So appeal more to women as you're redesigning the website. Right?
And ironically, all of these wormholes or promo tiles on the homepage of the original website, room planner, finishing touches, we would put the target customer in front of this website and she would say, I don't know what I'm looking at. I mean, there was no vocabulary of our client sells switches, dimmers, and outlets. So again, she had no sense of where she was, and she's not used to shopping for this, and so it was an extra layer of complication.
Other explanations, other executions to be able to grow confidence, right? What we kept hearing from the beginning is, I don't think this will fit in my house. I don't think it will fit in the box in my house. Make it explicit. This fits in any box in your house. Our client, because they make this, they're confident, they know it's their product. How can you not know that this fits in every box in your house? You don't know because they didn't tell you, right? Be very specific about giving people confidence that whatever you had in your house can be replaced by what we're selling you. What replaces what? Very simple. Provide education. Grow the consumer's confidence in their own ability to understand this. Don't assume they're just going to understand it. Develop buying guides and room planners that are useful for when you are in a showroom. Take this phone. Here's the showroom contact. Here's the room I'm thinking of. Get this thing from the showroom, bring it home, do a count in your house. You can do a house, you can do a room, you don't have to do the whole house. Another challenge people didn't think that they could. Again, growing confidence in the line. For us, this felt very much, looking back, I think, on this work, as the Home Depot. You can do it. You can put this in your house. You can replace. You can plan. We, Adorn, can help.
And sometimes language, as Scott was pointing out on that revised homepage of the website where we got the terminology straight and out front. Your customers don't always speak your language. A one-game wall plate. They advertise the hell out of this on HGTV, on her favorite shows, and then she goes to the website and it says, what size of wall plate, or what size wall plate do you need? 1 gang or 2 gang? I don't know. I don't know what that means. They took for granted how much their customer knew, and we had to go back to the basics. If this is what you have, this is what you need. This looks like what you have, this is what you need. Giving somebody the confidence that they can make the right decision and buy that online, and that they didn't purchase the wrong thing that's not going to fit. Okay, well, we've got several that we're going to go through very quickly. WebRoot. We worked with WebRoot to identify how to make the IT decision makers shortlist in small to medium-sized companies. Very narrow window, a very narrow audience too. So we reached out to people who we knew at the appropriate size company, asked who the person was, who was the decision maker, reached out to that person, found out, yeah, I made the decision, but I didn't do the research, and then we talked to the people who did the research. And the best way to gain somebody's confidence is to listen to them, internalize what they're saying, and parrot it back. So we went in and went through that whole adoption process, awareness, interest, evaluation, and trial, and dug deep with the people. How are you doing this? How is everybody else marketing products to you in this phase? What's missing? We talked to them, heard what was missing, and then came up with solutions to fit the need. Examples would be, we looked at the work product that people were creating as they were comparing vendors, and they were creating their own checklists. I said, well, we just need to make some checklists that clearly emphasize how we're answering the challenges, the specific challenges we're hearing. Give them to them, print them out. We're going to be in the final 2 or 3 that they share with people. We had people said that it was hard to understand and learn about products, so we commissioned a whole series of little 60 to 90-second videos for each product that were in a portable, shareable format, so that as you're doing the research and preparing a report for your boss, saying here are the 2 or 3 companies we should talk to, you're able to share information with them in an easy way. Give you the confidence that you're doing the right thing, and by us asking you and understanding your process, we are meeting those benchmarks of confidence. I was working with LinkedIn a lot this year. LinkedIn is making a big migration, and it's finally out of the bag. They were purchased by Microsoft, as everyone knows, which meant that they had to change CRM solutions. For people who don't know what CRM is, it's customer relationship management software. And that's where salespeople track their business development pipeline. They track potential clients, leads, where somebody is in the sales process, and you're logging events. Everybody's got a record. David Shaw at Consumer Research Associates, I talked to him this date when we talked about this. Here's a copy of the email I sent him as a follow-up. All of that's in there. LinkedIn has been using Salesforce since its inception, but since being purchased by Microsoft, they had to go to Microsoft Dynamics. People had no confidence in Microsoft Dynamics. As soon as they heard it, they went online and they started looking at the reviews, and everybody's saying, oh, it's terrible. So I work at Microsoft and it's terrible. There wasn't a lot of good information, positive information out there. So what we did was to create a model where we could break apart all of the activities that people were doing in their Salesforce, and then start doing rapid iterations and rapid deployments of components, and get it in front of users and get their feedback. part of what we learned while doing this were that there were so many problems with their Salesforce implementation that were beyond software that we started tracking a second list of here are things that need to be fixed in general, whether or not they're software. So we were able to, by the end of this process, have a list of recommended changes to how things are done before they're even entered into the software, so that people would appreciate those improvements, and it would help make that shit sandwich of going to a complete new platform a little more palatable, a spoonful of sugar with the change.
This is Skip.
Oh yes. Yes. This is the best one, because this was my very first ethnographic research project, and I got paid to hear people's poop stories. It was a dream come true for a young ethnographic researcher. I worked for the Doblin Group out of Chicago, which, if you know, it's an innovation consulting firm. And our client was Pfizer, and we were tasked with understanding the treatment journey for digestive health care. And we wanted to understand how to, it's a little nefarious, how to keep people in the aisle instead of at the doctor. Wanted to figure ways to keep them buying digestive health products that Pfizer made, Pepto, Tums, things like this. So we had to understand the digestive health experience. We paid people to talk to us about moving their pants, and it was brilliant. I sometimes think that I want to pay people and keep doing it because I don't have this project. But as we went through the journey that people were going through, it's like, when I was a kid and I'd have an upset stomach, my mom would give me some ginger in the tea, or we'd have some mint. And then when it got a little worse, I would go and I'd drink the pink stuff or the blue stuff. And then it still wasn't getting better, so I talked to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist would recommend stuff. And then ultimately, a lot of the people we talked to had serious problems. They never talked to a doctor about any of this. They got as far as the pharmacist. But what we were able to learn was to create new products for these people to keep them in that aisle. We understood their experience, and I hate putting medicine in my body, so I don't want to go to the doctor. So I'm doing this. Well, give me honey lemon cough drops, put some mint and ginger and flavor into the pink stuff and the blue stuff, so that people would think, have that sense of at least I'm putting something good into my body, as opposed to just putting this medicinal, horrible flavored stuff in my body. So again, it's by understanding people's experiences and needs when they're on that aisle and they see blue stuff or pink stuff with mint. They're like, oh, mint was dopamine inspiring. That's the stuff that I took when I was a kid, mint, and it's going to be good for me.
From digestive health to beer. In 2008, then Miller Brewing, now not Miller Brewing anymore, but then Miller Brewing, had a joint venture where they owned part of a beer from China called Snow. It is the most popular beer in the world. It is the #1 selling beer in China, and most of you have probably never heard of it. It did not exist in the US, it was not imported anywhere, but with that level of knowledge and awareness, they thought, what if we bring it to the US? Could we introduce Snow beer in the US? What did we do? We went and talked to people in San Francisco. We talked to people who love Chinese beer. We talked to people in Chinese restaurants. We intercepted people in Chinese restaurants. We talked to restaurant owners, and we talked to Chinese Americans who were very familiar with the world of Chinese beers and said, do you know about it? Are you interested? And what would it take to get you to try this were it to come to the US? Two main learnings from this project, and one is very simple, that people said, like, I need to see first and second generation Chinese Americans drinking this or marketing it or promoting it. That's easy, that's a marketing challenge. The second was, and this is what killed the project, it must be imported from China. Could it be made in Los Angeles at a brewery? No. With the same ingredients? No. Could it be made in San Francisco? No. Could it be made anywhere else but China? No. I will not drink it if it's not made in China and imported, and that wasn't a part of the project plan. That killed the project right there. I have no confidence that this is the beer that my relatives drink, that they drink at other Chinese restaurants. Without that confidence, this project went away. Obviously, SAB Miller, now part of the Anheuser-Busch InBev family, and they no longer, neither of those companies has any stake in this anymore. Middle Atlantic, another client, they make storage racks. This makes my head go a little blank.
The kind of stuff you see in server rooms,
the really warm
broadcast control rooms that have all the equipment in them.
It holds servers, it holds AV equipment, and they make the rack, and they had a configurator that could help engineers and salespeople understand that the product, that the place you are building, the place you're conceptualizing, that room back there will hold all the things it needs. But they didn't know how this configurator was working. They didn't know if they needed the configurator. They didn't know if it was worth the money they were spending on it. They asked David and me to go in to companies and do these interviews and watch people configurate, understand what players need to go where. So we talk to the engineers and they get it right away. They love the configurator. It makes sense to them. It does everything they want to do. And then we go to the salespeople and they say, I have no idea how to use this. What I do is I have an Excel spreadsheet that approximates it. It doesn't fill in with all the categories. It doesn't fill in with all the tools. I don't know what this is because I'm not proficient in CAD. And so what we had to go tell our client is, you did too much, right? The configurator was perfect for the engineers. They had all the confidence. You did a great job. What you did by making this so robust is you killed the confidence of the salespeople. So you need an easier tool. You need a more design-friendly tool. You need a more visual tool. And that came out not long after we finished that project.
Neighbors right down the street, DaVita. Okay, what audiences need a lot of confidence before they sign up for your product? Clinical research. You ask people for their understanding of what happens in a clinical trial. Oh my God, you're wired up, you have probes in your head, some people are given a sugar pill and other people are given something that's going to make them break out. You know, they have these old control groups. They think it's going to be like the rat on the maze. And they often, actually the people we interviewed described it as they foresee participating in a clinical trial like being a rat in a maze. So what did we do? We interviewed people who had participated in trials, people who had participated previously in trials but lapsed, and people who never did. We wanted to understand the fears and the barriers for participating. And once we learned that, it was clear, it's a no-brainer, that you need a lot of education about how safe it is now. Nobody's being given something that is going to have an adverse effect. Unless you have some kind of pre-existing condition and all the fine print. We wanted to encourage people that it was much safer than it used to be. And one thing that we did out of this was apply that technology adoption lifecycle and look at audiences. When we talked to the people who were participating in trials, it's safe, it's fun. Well, how do we communicate that to people? And they said, well, you know, sometimes it's boring because you can't leave the facility and all you can do is watch TV and talk to the other people for 3 days. And so we said, well, communication is key. Why don't we get some of these people who are participating in trials and further incentivize them and pay them more to write blogs and reports about what they're doing, what the experience is like, so that they can share it on the website with people who are considering participating. And you know, so you're not just hearing it from this big corporate entity that it's safe. You're hearing it from other people who are participating. And it's consequently making it a better experience for them as well. AbbVie. We were hired for a project to understand the HIV journey for a drug that AbbVie manufactured. And the drug was going off patent. And we wanted to make sure that people knew the drug and that there were hooks that would keep people on this drug by name, even when there was a generic available. So again, the philosophy that you go and learn from people and learn their challenges and their barriers and then parrot them back through solutions and ideas. One of the themes that we saw throughout all of these visits, we'd go into people's homes, we'd learn about their HIV journey. Hey, tell me about the medicine you're on. Where do you keep the medicine? Some people were hiding it. They would hide it in a suitcase in the back of a closet because they didn't want anybody in the family to find that medication and uncover what they might not have disclosed to their family. Other people said, I keep it by my dishes so that every time I take it at the same time each day, so that when I'm having my meal, preparing my dinner, I know to take my pill. So we learned there were opportunities. You can't change the pill. You know, that's a huge process, but we can change the world around the pill. We can change the bottle to something that's a little more discreet. We can create an app that will remind you gently every time at a certain time of day to take the pill. And again, so the whole idea here was if you can understand the customer and their experience and their needs, then you're able to come back with a product that will relate to them, and they will talk about this product and they will ask for this product. And this drug was called Calitra, and there are all kinds of young girls named Calitra because it was the first drug that was approved for pregnancy without transmitting to the fetus. So all of these women were having babies because of this drug, and Calitra was a hot name for a few years.
The literature, stories, understandings of our experience of trying to instill confidence, understandings of where confidence fits into popular culture, where it fits into literature. The question is, how do you instill it in your customers? Right? Hopefully we've given you some tips, some different ways of understanding today. We're going to walk you through a little bit of advice on how you can do this to instill that internal confidence in your customers.
The first is recognize your blind spots. View your own confidence. Everybody who's got a new product is super excited about it. Of course, it's the best thing. You're investing your time, your money, your career. All of your confidence is in all these things that you know. I know I can do this. I know that I'm creating a product that I think people will want. But what we really need to understand is we don't know what we don't know. And only our customers can tell us that. You have to go in, open minds, and start learning from your customers what they don't know. Donald Rumsfeld ruined this for us. If anybody's a documentary film buff, the film The Known Unknown, or The Unknown No. It was Unknown No. But he uses it as a justification for everything that happened in the Gulf War. He says, we've got blind spots, and so you can do your research before you continue evolving your product, and you can do your research before you go to war.
This seems very simple, define your target customer, but it's a step that I think a lot of people overlook in that development process when you're imagining your product. Again, like David is saying, you know it, it's amazing, it's great, it's going to set the world on fire. Figure out who you want to talk to and figure out what you need to say to them. We'll cover that in a second. But this is such an important step that I think in the same way that you get stuck in that I know what I know, I think we get stuck in this is for everybody. Right? And we don't define that target consumer. It's an incredibly important, simple step that you have to take early in the process if you want to be able to instill that level of confidence.
And engage them. Engage in any way you can. Whatever your budget allows, or whatever your bandwidth allows. Create surveys if you can't do anything else. Use free tools like SurveyMonkey. Don't just limit yourself to talking to your friends. We have a dorm client that we talked about. Oh, the product director says, oh, all of my friends love it. Well, you gave it to them for free. They know you work for a dorm. They're super happy with it, of course.
And it's a danger that we see at so many companies. We did an internal survey. It was amazing. Everybody who works at this company loves the product. This company is putting out. It's such a blind spot, right? You have to meet your customers, you have to figure out who you want to talk to, and engage them in every way that you can. With the goal to first understand, right? Hear their experience, get a sense of what it's like to be them, meet them where they are. Don't meet them where you hope they will be, meet them where they truly are. Everybody should have known that Adorn fits in every box in every home. Everybody should have known how it works. They didn't. We needed to understand that. And then, of course, the hallmark of qualitative research, ethnographic research, really, I think the hallmark of being just a successful human being, empathy. It is a hot phrase in the world of research, through design research. Empathize with your customers, with your consumers, based on where they are, not where you want them to be. And reimagine from that, right? You went into the field, you went into the product development, you went into starting your company, you went into working at this company with certain ideas. Once you understand, once you empathize, you then have to reimagine based on those elements, based on what you learned.
And again, the central question that we always ask, what will make them feel confident in you and your products? And that client, Adorn, was the client who gave us, who put this scene in our head. Because she would ask us at the beginning of every project, what do we need to do to make her confident? And we just started thinking of how we melded it into all of our work. It's the key question that we ask. It's the key question we don't necessarily ask it, but we try to uncover. And we realize that through the portfolio of our work, it's always been about that.
And what's getting in the way, right? What will make them feel confident, what will help people feel confident, and what's blocking that level of confidence. We know through all of the research, we know through the literature, ways that confidence can be a trick. We know ways that